part of your responsibilities. Uh, Seems easy, but most responsible and most difficult part, where you have to verify that solutions meet requirements. Based on this particular phase or responsibility, this is where the whole BAs, like business analysts, they started communicating with QAs, like quality assurance people. Because if this is one of your responsibilities, before it wasn't. Before there were only 7 parts. This 8th responsibility came into the picture where this was a communication gap. They said, oh wait, if this project has failed, where is that person who took this initiative? Who at this very start, who said yes, we can really implement it. So where is that person? So who was that? Business analyst. But business analyst said within my responsibilities, this thing is not my responsibility, it's quality assurance people's responsibility. They did not assure the quality of the product, that is it really meeting all those requirements or not. So when they went back to the quality assurance people, they said that we are the people who can only assure whatever is built. What is built? This is not our responsibility. We are not the people who are going to map these functionalities back into the business requirements, which were initially created by the business analyst. So then they said, okay, so this is one of the most important phase where we have to put this responsibility on the business analyst's head, saying that you are the person who is initially saying or capturing all these requirements. So at the end, this is your responsibility to map these requirements with the solution and saying that, okay, we have built this solution or we have brought this solution into the picture. So now this is how the whole, it's called fit gap analysis, that this is where all these requirements are fitting with the solution and this is where the gaps are. And testing team can only test this functionality, nothing else. So now this is where you have to basically meet with them. So when you are verifying solution meets requirements, so of course you have to have a basic understanding of system design principles like use case diagrams for technical teams. How would you map all those business processes? Again, there should be some sort of documentation, and that documentation is usually diagram. So that diagram, just one diagram tells you the whole process flow. So at the end, how can you quickly map that this functionality is meeting this requirement? So the requirement was that when I click on the start menu button, the pop-up menu should pop up. And that's this is exactly all you have to do is within that diagram, so you have to see where is the start button, here. So pop-up menu is popping up. Okay, so this is where basically we achieved our objective. Of course, I'm giving you a very minor example, but of course, you will see, for example, if you are the person who is going to test Google, just imagine how difficult job is that. Each and every single functionality. I mean, even Yahoo.com, initially they had only 100 pages, then they directly jump into 1,000 pages, then 50,000 pages, then 1 lakh pages, 100,000, and then currently they have 10 million pages, as an average, including of course all those third-party vendors who keep sponsoring them. But still, I mean, it's a huge product, and it involves currently they just did some analysis back in October 2008, last year. And even in that economy, they said if they want to sell Yahoo.com, and if you folks remember, Google was interested in buying that, and then they did not make it happen. Then Microsoft came into the picture and they started yelling, and then they started making all that lawsuits and everything, and that deal did not happen. So initially they came up with I guess $1.2 trillion. So it was a huge deal. I mean, just imagine just one product. Basically, what are you buying? Yahoo.com, nothing else, right? But, so in this case, you should have some basic understanding for all these. How are you going to map your requirements with the solution? After the system is developed, we make sure the system meets the original project objectives. Whatever original objectives are, who kept business analyst. So now he's the only appropriate person who can really go back and confirm that. He works closely with QA team, quality assurance team, and knowledge about the testing principles assist with UAT testing. UAT is one of the jargon user acceptance testing. At the end, whatever product you built, whatever product you developed it for businesses. So business side, they have to do some sort of testing also, saying that, okay, now we accept it or we reject it. So when they say like we reject it, that is where you say, okay, my project is saved. And this is where like, your job is in trouble. Although they cannot do anything but just fire you. So what? You just earn money for 6 months or so. But still, like, responsibility is huge. Write and review test cases and report defects from requirements and address to the technical team for correcting them. And of course, always remember one thing, that none of the IT product is 100%. Any and every single IT product would have, at the end, would have some sort of technical issues with that. You must have missed some sort of requirements. You must have missed like, some sort of technical aspects, like, or points into that during the development process. And this is where basically the whole QA team is like, sitting there, they're making sure they're testing everything, they're going back to the technical team saying like, no, business requirement was this and this is not really functioning in the proper way. And then they will keep developing it. But of course, this whole process, like this testing is one part, the UAT is this totally other part.